Okay, we're going to take a look at some personal training happening between Coach Nolan and Coach Abby. Here you're seeing Coach Nolan and he's meeting with his client Ben. This is just after some kind of meeting and greeting, and now Coach Nolan is going over the training that Ben will see for that day. He's going over what the training is, the stimulus, what muscle groups or what we're particularly working for that day, and how that applies to Ben and Ben's goals across the journey and where they're at. He's breaking some things down in detail, but obviously in a way that Ben, a relatively newer client, can understand. Now, what I didn't capture here with Coach Nolan and Ben is their initial first greeting that happens. You'll see in a moment as we transition to Coach Abby that it doesn't have to be a formal setting, but we always check in with our people before we even begin talking about the training for the day. Here's Abby meeting with a client of hers named Melinda. They're checking in, recapping how the weekend was, how Melinda is doing. This is super important. We obviously care about our people, so we're invested in how they are beyond the training. Now we're going to take a look at these two underway. So this is Coach Nolan working with Ben within a session, and this is Abby, Coach Abby, working with a new client, Alex, and teaching her some fundamentals. One is how to row. So she just demonstrated that, and now she's going to give Alex the opportunity herself to apply what she saw and do that back with some corrections, not being overbearing, kind of giving her some wins along the way, not looking for perfection, as obviously this is one of her first times rowing, but making that experience enjoyable. We shift over here. I apologize about the camera angle. Coach Nolan working with Ben in the middle of his workout, monitoring, movements, points of performance, how things are going throughout that session, and obviously what they have tailored. What's happening here is there's a deliberate rest happening between the set where Nolan is guiding him how to appropriately pace and strategize to optimize his particular workout. So he's teaching the individual how to approach fitness. Super important. We transition back over to Abby. She's taking Alex through some new movements of how to warm up, how to develop a little bit more body awareness, some self-trust, showing her some things. And this is Ben and Nolan about to head outside for a final movement that will be a part of their workout. Now we go back to Coach Nolan here. They're in a rest period now, and he's breaking down what went really well within that round. Maybe the time split, the movements, the mechanics. I believe this was a 3-round interval that had rest between. So he's using this opportunity to reinforce what Ben was doing really well. Obviously anchor some of those points of performance in for Ben, which is super important. Maybe some goals going forward, how to adjust on the fly. We scan back to Abby here. Now, as Alex's comfort level and experience on the rower each time grows a little bit, so will what Abby's looking for and how that's applied within that particular machine or movement. Now we're getting a firsthand look at Alex's first introduction to a barbell. So this is a training bar. This is where we help athletes learn and develop self-trust through resistance training. Resistance training through external loads like barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells is extremely powerful for building muscle, building strength, which we all want, thus learning how to do that properly and safely. So the first thing we're always looking for is safety. Obviously, from that, she wants this process to be enjoyable, so she's not going to micromanage some inefficiencies during that process. Now, we'll kind of scan to the end here. Obviously, don't want this video to be too long, but this is Coach Nolan and Ben recapping the session in a cool down manner. So all what went well, what Nolan saw that Ben did really well, kind of an overview of the session and setting up the next.